So I'm Natalie and I'm here with Melanie from the Haydon Effect, and we're talking about the model, the ADKAR model of change. So Melanie works at the Haydon Effect and works around change and change management, and I work in the learning and development space with VidVersity and also with my teaching. And we were chatting, because we've done a bit of work together, and we were chatting about this model, the ADKAR model, and the words, the buzzwords that you were using, awareness, desire, knowledge, all of that. I went, oh my God, that's all the language you speak about in training. So can you explain what the ADKAR model of change is?
Sure. And look, there are a lot of models of change. One of the reasons why I like this ADKAR model, which has been put together by Prosky, is simplicity and the ability to be able to see things in different stages that all flow on together, and the importance of doing those stages in a logical order. So ADKAR stands for, the first stage is awareness. So somebody is not going to be able to change until they are aware of the change or of the requirement to change. The next part is, the next stage is desire. Hugely important. You can tell somebody how they're going to do something, but if they don't want to do it, or they don't see the acronym WIFM, the what's in it for me, then they're not going to change, or the change is not going to be substantial.
Yeah, which is that in adult learning, we always talk about if they haven't got the want.
That's right.
If they haven't got the want, there's absolutely no chance of teaching an adult learner. Children are like a sponge. They'll take in things and they'll sit in a classroom when they're 5 years old and learn. An adult, if you can't produce create that desire.
No, there's no point. You're wasting your money. Or it might be an enjoyable course to go to where you go, oh, that was interesting, oh, I had so much fun doing that, but when you get home, you put your material, your training material in the drawer, and that's it.
Which I just want to stop you on that. I find that a really interesting thing. I speak to a lot of people and they go, it was the best session. And I go, it doesn't matter if it was fun or it has to actually change your behaviour. You've got to get something that you can apply to your life, your work, something. So, yeah.
And just, again, just stopping in at the awareness, desire and going to a different model, very, very simple model, in order to be able to implement change or implement learning. The participants need to be able to recall it, understand it, and apply it. You can't recall, understand, and apply if you don't go through these ADKAR stages.
Yeah.
So we've looked at awareness, we've looked at desire. The third one is knowledge. And so often people will jump to this stage. So they'll say, this is what you need to do. Then bang, 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 bang.
Or in learning, this is what you need to know.
Yeah, this is what you need to know, exactly. And they've skipped the whole awareness and desire stage. I see this all the time, and people wonder why learnings or change aren't something that's successful.
That doesn't stick.
It doesn't stick, exactly.
As we say in learning.
So, but the knowledge is obviously still very important. People need to know what the knowledge is behind it. The next stage in ADKAR is A for action. So how are we going to do it? What are the activities that are involved in learning or in changing this behaviour? And then the fifth R, the fifth letter for ADKAR, R, is for reinforcement. So from an organisational perspective, if you're putting change in, how are you going to reinforce that change? So that might come down to rewards and recognition, or in learning, it might come back into the desire. So what was their desire to do it, and how is now knowing or learning this new information being reinforced so that it sticks?
Yeah, so for just to sort of bring it across to learning, awareness, so that's awareness that they've got to learn something, they've got to change. Desire, we've sort of covered that.
Yep.
Knowledge is an interesting one because it's becoming less, it's really important, but actually I've got this thing now, I don't think knowledge is power so much anymore thanks to the internet. You can find stuff.
Yes,
that's not the hard part of the puzzle anymore.
Yeah.
So, and one of the analogies I use with all of that now is I say being a really good educator is like being able to pack your bag well for a holiday. It's really easy to take everything.
Yes, which I tend to do.
But it's really hard just to pack well. It's really hard as an educator it's really easy to give them everything,
Yeah.
but it's really hard to pick out what's critical
core.
for them to, the next step being ability to change. So what do they actually need to do the change?
Yeah.
And then the reinforcement. The big link that I have there is you have to connect the learning to the job. If they don't know how to apply it back in their job, which you were talking about application,
Being
it's sort of
able
wasted.
to-
It has to go. So as a trainer or anytime I'm teaching, I'm always connecting it with stories back to the job, because then they can it resonates with them.
Yes. Yes.
So I just think it's so interesting. It's this organisational change piece that a lot of people are doing in their organisations. It's just so aligned to learning.
Well, it's behavioural change.
Yeah.
So there's not, if we're dealing with human beings, then it doesn't matter as such what context it's in. It goes across all areas.
It does, and I think that's why it's really interesting stuff. So thanks so much for your time today. I think this is really interesting stuff, and it's something that I find really interesting is all of these sort of cross disciplines talking to each other about what we're doing, and often they're really aligned. And I think it's really good to speak to people from outside our traditional industries and see how we can learn from each other. So thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Thanks.
Matt.